Good evening. Welcome to Iron Government, a production from the Agency for Public Information. I'm your host, Keisha Woodley. Iron Government comes to you on Tuesdays and Thursdays on this station. It highlights government's programs and policies and how they impact you in your corner of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Just ahead on this evening's program, the National Road Rehabilitation Program brings new road construction technology to the Sibyl Hill Road in Cumberland. We look at security measures on Elections Day. St. Clair Deacon teacher experiments with a Japanese perspective to the teaching of mathematics, and Palm Island Resort Agreement signing marks a significant milestone in this country's ongoing push to enhance luxury tourism. Stay with us. Exciting developments are ahead. First, let's go to Crystal Charles for Newswatch.
Good evening and welcome to our Newswatch segment. I'm Crystal Charles. Parliament in St. Vincent and the Grenadines was officially dissolved on Tuesday, October 28, 2025, but Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves remains the head of government. Lawyer Jomo Thomas has dismissed claims circulating that the dissolution of Parliament removes Dr. Gonsalves and his cabinet from office, clarifying that such interpretations are inaccurate. While the dissolution ends the life of the legislative branch, it does not affect the executive arm of government. The cabinet continues to function and the Prime Minister and ministers retain their positions. Thomas also noted that the Governor General remains the ceremonial head of state and only parliamentary duties and seats are currently inactive. Dissolving Parliament simply terminates the service of all elected legislators and suspends all parliamentary business until a new assembly is formed. With all seats now vacant, the country prepares for the upcoming general election scheduled for November 27, 2025, when a new parliament will be elected and convened. A number of homeowners in Hollywood, Cumberland received their deeds to their properties on Monday. Most people in the community were relocated to the area due to the 2013 floods and other natural disasters, and even more houses are being built out. Minister of Housing, Honorable Orlando Brewster, says this is a policy of the government which has continued.
We have approximately 50 deeds prepared for different areas in North Leeward, including Cumberland. We have also Richmond and homeowners in Fitzhugh. And as we go along, we will see more and more homes being developed across North Leeward. As we speak now, we are surveying 99 lots in Fitzhugh, and we are also building out different style homes, including the prefabricated homes, as well as our traditional brick and mortar. As a matter of fact, North Leeward is poised to receive one of the first in a 4-family unit, and that is all part and parcel of the housing revolution and taking housing to the next step.
Now you have a deed in your hand, you can go to the bank, you can refinance your property, you can extend. The best asset you can have as security is title to your house and land. And that is what we are doing here today, is putting in place that security for you. Once you have that deed in your hand, that deed of conveyance, the land and the house is yours. And we are touching lives. We are providing the opportunities for you in housing. And we are turning what we considered before the construction of these houses dead capital into live capital. Because what you have now in your hand is a valuable asset and you're getting it free of cost.
Cabinet has approved for a cost of living allowance COLA to be paid to all public servants, nurses, teachers, police officers, prison officers, non-established employees, and pensioners in the central government as a one-off payment tax-free. This COLA would account for 3% of the person's monthly salary or wages for 3 months. This payment will be made at the end of November 2025. The government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines formally welcomed the ambassador of the Russian Federation, His Excellency Andrei Pritspov. Following the presentation of his letters of credence to Her Excellency Dame Susan Duggan, Governor General of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. In presenting his credential, Ambassador Pritspov commended the steadfast unity and resilience demonstrated by the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, particularly throughout the COVID-19 pandemic. He reaffirmed the Russian Federation's commitment to advancing cooperation and strengthening bilateral relationships with St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Her Excellency Dame Susan Duggan warmly congratulated Ambassador Pritspov on his appointment and expressed the government's dedication to deepening the long-standing ties between the two nations. She extended best wishes for a successful and productive tenure. During his visit, Ambassador Pritspov also met the Honorable Frederick Stevenson, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Foreign Trade and Consumer Affairs. Their discussions focused on avenues for enhanced collaboration, and the ambassador was given an opportunity to view progress on the new modern port project from the ministry's offices. Diplomatic relations between the Russian Federation and St. Vincent and the Grenadines were established on September 17, 2002. We've come to the end of our NewsWatch segment. Iron Government continues with Keisha Woodley. Stay with us.
Welcome back to Iron Government. The National Road Rehabilitation Program continues to focus on the upliftment of communities by upgrading road infrastructure, and in North Leeward, several pieces of road are being upgraded, among them a portion of road in Sibyl Hill, Cumberland. The Sibyl Hill Road is using a new road building technology that involves the use of prefabricated boulder-style concrete wall blocks. The modern engineering blocks were imported specifically for the Sibyl Hill project, and the key feature includes prefabricated wall blocks weighing several tons each, manufactured off-site, then transported to St. Vincent. Also in Cumberland, a bypass road is being completed that will offer an alternative route to motorists if the main route is compromised by, among other things, natural disasters, including landslides. Minister of Tourism and Culture, Honorable Carlos James, noted that the Sibyl Hill Road project is part of ongoing transformative projects across the constituency. He noted that there is work being done on the Hermitage Mountain Road, the Golden Grove Bridge, and the Cumberland Ring Road. He said also that over the last term, 4 bridges have been rebuilt, with 2 more underway, demonstrating the scale of climate-related erosion facing North Leeward.
So we are here in Sibyl Hill, Cumberland in North Leeward with Parliamentary Representative for North Leeward, Carlos James, where the government's National Road Rehabilitation Project continues. And today, Mr. James will be giving us an update on this Sibyl Hill project. Good day, Mr. James. How are you?
I'm happy to be here, and as you can see, we are 90% completed with the casting of the Sibyl Hill Road, connecting Charles Village and Spring Village with the rest of North Leeward. What is important with this piece of road here, it took significant period of time in terms of the studies, the soil testing, designs, putting together the proposal for submission for the contract to be awarded. Something interesting happened very importantly on this piece of road. Perhaps for the very first time we're using a new technology which we have not used in North, certainly not in North Leeward, but perhaps parts of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We have not used this type of technology before, where the road is being held up by prefabricated boulders, blocks. They're made off-site. A foundation was dug, creating stability. The challenge we had here initially was an erosion of the old foundation of the retaining wall. We removed that wall completely, put in a new foundation base, and we imported into St. Vincent and the Grenadines these prefabricated walls. They're blocks of walls that are several tons heavy. They were installed into the base. The prefabricated walls were installed into the base. Steel was inserted into them along with base material. They were tied together, and of course they came up to the level of the road. The contractor also removed the foundation and the base of the road, the base material. Everything was dug out down to dirt level and relayed the base material. Had sufficient time on the road to put in place all of the supporting, connecting barriers from the drainage end to the end of the road. So the road will be a little bit wider, new base material, a new foundation for the wall, the prefabricated wall that is there, and of course now they're doing the casting. What is also different on this piece of road is originally there was an asphalt motorway. It's now concrete. There is in fact a shortage of material, but I think for durability it was also important to have this piece of road casted in concrete. It's slightly tilted where there's a better drainage and better flow. Once there's water on the road, it doesn't go over to the embankment, but it flows to the drainage on the left side of the road and connects further down on an existing drain. We're also going to install a rail on this road as well. If you can see the steels coming out of the concrete. So railings are going to be installed here as well to ensure safety of this piece of road here, connecting the North Leeward highway connectivity. So we are building resilience into this project. Any chance of further deterioration or compromise is going to be reduced due to the technology which we used on the construction of this road, from the base material to the prefabricated walls and the new foundation. But also, we're constructing, which is near completion, they're going to be completed simultaneously, a second bypass road. This bypass road is going to serve in the event that there are any further compromise of any parts of Sib Hill. You would look around you would see there are parts of Sib Hill which potentially it's prone to land slippage, and therefore if there are challenges, future challenges, climatic shocks and so on, and parts of the road, we are going to have a brand new concrete bypass road in Cumberland where motorists can also use that to move freely in and out of Northern Leeward. These are significant improvements to our vehicular traffic and motorway. It's important that we, as I said, build resilience into our infrastructure. That is what we're doing. The road was done in a very short period of time for several reasons. The new type of technology which was used there, the contractor who had workers, in fact there are quite a few workers here, well over a dozen plus workers here, working every single day of the week from morning into night, even on weekends and holidays. I gave them a timeline. I said I want this road to be completed before November 2025. And I asked the contractor, is this possible? He said, Minister, I'm going to use every possible resource I have to complete this project. And I'm happy to note that as of today, we're in the final phase of the work. I've just telephoned the utilities company. They're going to now remove an underground cable, a fiber, from the earthwork that is here, the earthworks that are here, and they're now going to have the remainder of the road casted and completed today, no later than today. And I'm hoping we can have a little bit of time for curing, and I'm hoping we can have this motorway open for vehicular traffic in a very short period of time. But both pieces of road, the Cumberland Bypass and the Sibby Hill North Leeward Highway, will be completed. The time frame for the bypass by this weekend, hopefully they should be out of there. Sibby Hill, hopefully they should be out of here by today. And both pieces of road will be completed before November 2025.
This is just one of several projects that is taking place in North Leeward. We have the Hermitage Road. Can you tell us a bit about that? And we see some activity in the Golden Grove area where there's a bridge being replaced. So can you tell us a bit about these other projects?
Certainly. In Hermitage, currently there are two contractors in Hermitage. Braxa, they are doing some immediate remedial work to some parts of Hermitage, the further north end where the road has completely deteriorated. It's a farm road, but it's an important piece of road to the Spring Village community. Nearly every household, they benefit from going into to access to the farmlands. It's a farming community. They benefit significantly from road access going into that pass of road. So they are going to do, Braxa is currently there with several pieces of heavy equipment. They will spend the next week or two there doing some stabilizing. There is a local contractor, Rick Construction. He has been awarded a contract to commence work on the reconstruction of the parts of the Hermitage Mountain Road. So he's currently there along with Braxa, and they're doing some significant work to improve the road access going into Hermitage Mountain. I know it's a very important project for the community. I'm fully in support of the project. I'm fully in support, and I understand the needs of the community, and I've been working with them over the last few months to ensure we deliver on that. We've had some challenges with delays with redesigning from a rubber wall to a concrete wall in several parts of the road. We've had for the redesign from a double carriageway to a single lane carriageway with lay-bys. So we've had to redesign at least about 2 or 3 times to ensure we have enough resources to stretch the road, to have a wider parts of the road being reconstructed, as opposed to putting the resources into retaining walls. We're going to now have a lot more of the resources available to expand the reconstruction of the Hermitage Mountain Road. So that is ongoing, and I'm quite pleased to see work has started here. A few weeks now they've been inside Hermitage. I'm doing lining the road and then clearing the drainage and so on, and they've started the works there, and I'm happy with that project. But also you mentioned Golden Grove, where there was a complete collapse of an existing wall that held up the Golden Grove Bypass Road, which connects Fitzhugh with the rest of Chateaubelair. The project there, we've had two designs. A redesign from a retaining wall being constructed, and the road has compromised so badly due to climatic shocks and the challenges that we've had with soil erosion. The soil there is a particular type of soil which lends itself easily to erosion, and the engineers came in, and what they did was to redesign a complete build out. Instead of a retaining wall and a backfill, they are going to now put a span bridge across the Golden Grove land area connecting Fitzhugh to Chateaubelair, and the abutments are already planted into the gutter. There's a stream, a gently flowing stream there, but they've already planted abutments into that area, and now it's a matter of just placing the bridge on so we can have a casting of the bridge. So we are hoping to have that completed. The contractor is doing an excellent job there, has continued to work there steadily, progressing with that project. And apart from that, there are several other projects, the Cumberland Ring Road, Copeland Mountain Road, Panmyra, there's ongoing work there. In Peterborough, we're doing some earthen road moving that into concrete roads as well. There's projects in Sharps and Chateaubelair. We have to do some rehabilitative work on some of the roads. In Rosebank on the highway, we've done some work there. So there have been some significant improvements into the road network and the infrastructure here in North Leeward. And I'm quite happy. I'm really grateful that we've had the resources allocated. I want to thank the people of North Leeward for their patience. They've been certainly patient with the government in terms of the rollout of these projects. And all of these things are being rolled out simultaneously across the constituency, which we're hoping that it augurs well for improved infrastructure and improved road network across the constituency.
Looking for sun, sea, and culture? Hop on American Airlines from the US to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Easy, breezy, and unforgettable. Let the adventure begin.
Welcome back to Iron Government. With Election Day approaching, the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force is outlining its procedures and expectations to ensure a free, fair, and orderly voting process. As the nation prepares to head to the polls, law enforcement is emphasizing the importance of cooperation, respect, and tolerance from both officers and the public. In tonight's feature, we hear directly from the police as they explain the protocols in place, the role of citizens, and how everyone can work together to safeguard a peaceful and democratic election day. Nika Anderson Isaacs tells us more.
So it is St. Vincent and the Grenadines Sports Day. It's coming ahead and we want to prepare for it. And we have our red team and we have our yellow team. And then we have those persons that are just cheering on the sidelines. Whatever way it goes, we want to encourage persons to follow the process and do the right thing on election day. With us today in studio, we have Constable Cora Bob, and she's going to help us to have a better understanding of the police's role in this process. As we look at the overall preparedness and the objective of the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force, we'd like to know, how is the police force preparing for Election Day, and what is your main priorities as citizens head to the polls?
Good afternoon, ma'am, and good afternoon to listeners. For Election Day, we have been preparing by organizing our officers to work at the polling station. So far we have officers who are detached, who knows where they're working already, and we have been having meetings with them to remind them, because they know already, to remind them of what their job is at the polling station. The ultimate goal, however, is to keep the peace. No matter what, we would like to have a peaceful and quiet election.
Okay. What measures are in place to ensure a free, fair, and peaceful election process across the country?
So the polling stations open from 7 and closes at 5, which means that the officer who's working at the station has to be there by 6:30 the latest. There, to get there on time, there'll be one police officer in the office in the room with the ballot box, and there'll be multiple officers on the compound to ensure that there's no loitering. Only persons who are going to vote will be in a proper line, quiet, and officers will be patrolling to ensure that peace reigns during that day.
What about other, at the station, can officers?
Yes, ma'am. Police officers would have been on duty, on vacation, and they were called back. That is to ensure that we have multiple officers. We do not want to just have one officer here and one officer there. So officers who are on vacation, but on the island, were called back. So on Election Day, some officers will be at the polling station and some will be at the compound. That is to allow a smooth relief of officers, because we cannot have officers working from 6:30 until late into the night. So officers will be relieving one another. They will also be patrolling the island just to ensure that peace reigns. We cannot have loud music. We do not want to have groups gathering on the street, especially close to polling stations. So there will be officers doing that, patrolling the island.
Okay. Can you walk us through the specific procedures officers will follow at polling stations on Election Day?
So there'll be two particular duty. For the officer who's in the room with the ballot box, that is his or her duty. They stay there. If the ballot box move for whatever reason, they have to move with it. So that officer is stationed there. The officer on the road outside, paying attention to the line, waiting to vote, they'll have a more intense job, because we have to remember we cannot be bribing persons, we cannot convince persons to vote. I cannot come and try to tell you I will give you something. So the officer who's patrolling the polling station will have a more intense job to ensure that they stay quiet, they ensure that persons who are coming to vote do not have any clothing with the symbols for the particular party, or do not try to convince persons or try to start altercations, arguments that will lead to something further. So that will be the officer's outside duty.
Okay, and there will be one officer outside or several
No,
officers?
multiple. There will be multiple officers constantly.
Okay. So I guess that what steps will be taken if any disturbances or disruption occurs at or near a polling station?
As much as we hope that doesn't happen, if you commit an offense, it will be dealt with accordingly. So let us say you commit criminal assault and you have to be apprehended, that will be done. If you commit a wounding, we will have to take you to the station. We're trying to avoid that. We hope that does not happen, but it will not be a day like to say, this is election day and you have to vote, but you did something bad and we leave you. If you commit yourself, we will have to take you to the closest police station.
Okay. As we look at public conduct and expectation, what behavior is expected of voters and party supporters to maintain order and respect polling stations?
So for the first thing, it is expected after voting, you leave the compound. Do not loiter and wait for your friend. You have to stay 100 yards or more. So you move away from the polling station. Do not gather close by. Don't play music. No drinking of alcohol. Shops are not supposed to be selling alcohol, but we know that you could have your own alcohol. We do not encourage you to walk with your drinks to drink close to the polling station. No amplified music or anything like that. That is not expected.
And with that point, we know sometimes over the years there are typical issues that the police may encounter. What are some of the common issues or violations the police typically encounter on election day, and how can the public help to minimize them?
One of the issues we deal with seriously, although we ask persons not to do, they still tend to do. Because I just told you, don't loiter. But somebody would always try to loiter to see if they could do it without somebody seeing. Don't drink. The music, we have up until the 26th of November to campaign until 12 a.m. Thursday morning. Let us see how much we can do now, but on election day, we're supposed to quietly go. No one is supposed to know. Yes, I might be a family member, so I would know who you're voting for, but we're not supposed to be close to the polling area or in the line waiting and discussing what we're going to do in the polling station. So if we could just go quietly, vote, it's like a secret. When we get back home, we could talk about it. And the next day, I could have conversations with my family and my friends or in my home. But at the polling station, let's try to be quiet, just do what we have to do and move away from there.
How should a citizen engage with the officer if they need assistance or if they wish to report a concern?
So that person can report the matter to the police officer who is close by, and if it is a simple matter, the officer can resolve the matter by speaking to both parties involved. If it is something of a more intense, offense, the officer could report the matter to the presiding officer who has more authority at the polling station, and they will investigate the matter and deal with it accordingly.
And if it's a criminal act outside of that?
Yes, then it will be taken to the police station, investigated, and depends on how big it is, it goes accordingly.
Okay. When we look at political rallies, gathering and transportation, what guidelines are in place regarding political motorcades, loudspeakers and large gatherings on election day?
So on Wednesday 26 November at 12 a.m., all campaigning should stop. There should be no loud music, the alcohol drinking stops then, no color of the t-shirts, the symbols, all that should stop on the 26th of November.
And if people don't adhere, what would happen?
They will be dealt with accordingly. They'll be reported. If they come to the polling station, they will ask to leave. They could leave quietly or they might have to be removed.
Can people actually be arrested?
Yes, they can be. So we could either take them off the compound. First, we could ask you to leave. You could do so quietly, or we'll have to take you.
Okay.
Remove you from the compound.
What should voters know about their rights and responsibilities when interacting with police officers at polling sites?
Interaction can be done for a long time, but it has to be peaceful. We cannot go and try to cause confusion. So I want to tell the officer something. There's no need for me to do so aggressively. And I, as the officer, should try and calm the situation. So if a person come to me in an aggressive tone, I should try and calm them down because I have to listen to them. I cannot say I'm not going to listen to you because you're being rude, but I should not respond the same way you're talking to me.
So you have to de-escalate the
Yes,
situation. How is the police force ensuring that all citizens, regardless of their political affiliation, are treated fairly and impartially?
Okay, and that is the purpose for being quiet at the polling site. You stand in a line, and after voting, you leave. So we ensure that if somebody comes out of the voting area, you don't hang around anywhere, you just walk away. And that is the purpose of police patrolling the compound to ensure that you don't go to the back and stuff like that.
And you inspect the fingers?
Yes,
What's the purpose of that?
To see if they're coming back, you will remember that you'd have seen that person there before and they have absolutely no reason to come back on the compound.
Okay. Safety and security. What security risk, if any, are you anticipating and how is the force prepared to manage them?
As much as we hope for peace, we know it might not be so, and that is the purpose for patrolling. If there's police officers at every turn, the chance of persons making mischief is less likely. So there will be constant patrolling, like all the officers, every officer is on duty, taking turns, just patrolling the road to make sure that civilians are not being miserable.
Also ensure that you beef up the security measures.
On every street, we should be patrolling over and over and over to ensure that if one officer passed now, 5 minutes after, there should be another police officer, just to see. No room for people to be miserable.
Okay. How will officers handle reports of intimidation, harassment, or misinformation on election day?
We'll first report it to the presiding officer, who might be able to deal with the matter, and if he or she asks that we take them off the compound, we do so. And it could go as simple as we just ask you to leave, but it depends on your response to it. Because if you decide you're not going to leave, then we will have to remove you. We cannot say he or she does not want to leave and leave it like that. And if we have to take you, then we'll take you to the closest police station.
So the response can be from mild to harsh, but
yes, ma'am. It depends on how
mild as best as possible.
Yes.
All right. What message would you like to share with the public as we approach election day to help them maintain peace, respect, and cooperation in St. Vincent?
The St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force is fully committed to ensuring that election day is peaceful, orderly, and free from intimidation. We will perform our duties with professionalism and impartiality. We ask the public to follow the law, remain calm, respect the process, and allow every citizen to vote without interference. When the police and the public work together, we strengthen the integrity of election and uphold the democratic values of this nation. Thank you, and may our conduct on election day reflect the best of who we are as Vincentians.
Thank you.
Craving paradise? Fly Delta and touchdown in the untouched beauty St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
You are viewing Iron Government. Last November, mathematics teachers around the Caribbean participated in a knowledge co-creation program organized by the Japan International Cooperation Agency JICA under the Technical Cooperation Program of the Government of Japan. St. Vincent and the Grenadines had 2 representatives, one of whom was Wilfred Boswick, a mathematics teacher at the St. Clair Deacon Secondary School, Carapan. While in Japan, Boswick completed a course in mathematics education for primary and secondary students. He shares his impression of the course and how he tailors his knowledge to his classes. Here is more. Mr. Boswick, last year, around this time, late November, I think, you went to Japan on a course funded by Japan International Cooperation Agency, JICA, a mathematics course to be specific. How did you become involved in that course?
Well, I got a call from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. They are the one who invited me to the program. And I said, why not? It's going to help with my development.
So you had no concerns at all about going to Japan?
The only concern I had was the language.
Okay. And while you were there, did you need to speak Japanese? Did you learn some Japanese?
Well, I learned some Japanese before I went there, thanks to Duolingo. And I had to use Japanese in order to greet and from time to time with the classes.
What was the course like? Were there other teachers from the Caribbean? Were you the only Vincentian teacher on the trip?
No, there were two Vincentian teachers, myself and Miss Nadia Windsor from the Senate Government School who went to the program. And we had other compatriots from the Caribbean region coming from as far as Guyana to Jamaica.
Okay, nice. What were some of the topics covered in the course?
Most of the topics that were covered had to do with the educational system in Japan as it relates to mathematics. The main topic I like and take away is called board writing. It's a technique that they use with regards to teaching mathematics. So you divide the board into 3 segments. You have the introductory part for the lesson, then you have the middle part and the closure. And the board writing technique allows for students who enter the class late so they can be able to follow the session and won't be at a loss, because in our tradition our boards are generally smaller, so we tend to erase the board as soon as we finish, but in Japan they don't erase the board until the class is finished.
Okay, so that means we will need longer, wider boards here in the future?
Yes, well, their boards is twice the size of ours. I got to visit both primary and secondary.
And what were your impressions in terms of the atmosphere, the physical environment and the teaching environment?
Well, it's a complete difference to our environment in St. Vincent. The students are willing to learn, they're prepared, they're very mannerly, and they follow instructions.
Yes, in terms of applicability, how useful and transferable are the topics that you learned or what you saw in Japan in terms of applying it to your school environment here?
Well, the Japanese mathematics is ahead of ours. So, for example, some topics that are done in their high school, we'll do it in college in SVG. And then some of the topics that we do like in Form 3, they do it in Form 1. So they are way advanced in terms of mathematics is concerned. Now the application part that I brought is with regards to problem solving. You allow more time for the students to solve the problem. So instead of trying to just rush, you take your time with the students, because you need to make sure they understand the concept as to how they get around finding the answer than to giving them the answer.
Okay, but do you have enough time? How long is a period here? Do you have enough time?
At our school we have 40-minute sessions. So you have enough time. Once you plan 30, you'll get through. And we have a double session, it's 80 minutes.
Okay, how often is this double session?
Well, for the Form 3 level that you saw me with this morning, I have a double session once per week.
Okay, very good. Okay, and generally speaking, how do your students feel about mathematics?
The students, they have improved with regards to the appreciation for mathematics, but we still have some hiccups along the way with regards to practice. They don't like to practice maths, and it calls for practice. And then being prepared for class. We have several of them who might still not have all that is needed, so they can be well prepared for the lessons.
Yes, and I should have asked this before. What classes do you teach here, and what levels?
I teach lower forms, so I teach forms 1, 2, and 3.
Okay, very well. And is it only mathematics that you teach here?
Presently, yes.
Okay. What do they find most challenging? What part of math do they find most? We can start with Form 1s. What do Form 1s find most challenging?
Well, it's across. So from Form 1s to 3, they generally find algebra challenging because it introduces letters, and they're thinking mathematics is only about numbers. And then for the Form 3, generally, they usually have a little bit of hiccup with a topic called trigonometry.
Oh, I used to have a problem with that topic as well. Okay. So how did you, or why did you become a math teacher?
Well, since I'm in primary school, I always loved maths, and before primary too, so it came natural. And I was teaching maths in school, so I used to have my classmates who don't understand the topics, they'll come and ask me to explain it. So from there, I have some teaching practice. So just to recap, a frequency polygon is a line graph that shows the frequency distribution of a grouped data. So we'll be going over some information that we did previously, and hopefully we can get it correct with regards to constructing frequency polygons today. If we look at our data set, how often do we see the value between 1 to 5 repeating itself? 2. So we have this value, we have that value, so you have it twice. 6 to 10. 3. So we're going to find we have 1, 2, 3. Mid interval value, mid meaning the middle. So if we need to find the middle value, divide by which number? 2. Thank you, Jamal. You have 30 seconds remaining. Was that shy? Okay, we'll try Kendra. No, they're afraid of cameras.
11 minus 0.5 plus 15 plus 0.5 equal 26 divided by 2 equal 13.
13. Thank you.
Thank you.
And to help us, we're going to have Casey Ann.
16 take away 0.5 plus 20 plus 0.5 equal 36 divided by 2 equal 18.
Okay, how many person got all of those correct? So those are our mid-interval range. So those who got it incorrect, remember we are dividing by 2. Then in front you have your graph paper. So you're going to roll up your graph paper with your y and x axis.
What advice do you have for other math teachers? Is there anything from your experience that you think other teachers would benefit from?
They need to be open-minded. Do not believe that you know everything as a math teacher, because the students sometimes they have a different approach to get the same answer. They are correct. So if you try, for example, to have 2 numbers, when you add it you get 10. In your head you might only think about 5 plus 5. But the child might say 9 plus 1.
8 plus 2.
Or then another student might say negative 2 plus 12 will give you 10. But if you teach open-minded, you'll allow for different approach to get the same answers.
Yes, but my answer is also right. 8 plus 2.
Yes, it's correct as well. So now x-axis we find the value 8, and we go up until we reach to which number? 4. Put a point that you can see. Good.
For someone who wants to become a math teacher, what route should they follow? You can talk to us about your own experience. Give me a step by step.
Well, I'd advise them to make sure that you're successful at the CSET level, so you can have the prerequisite. Then when you get to college, you can pursue advanced maths as in CAPE. Then once they finish that, they can either do 2 things. Go to teachers college so you can get the teaching skills needed, so you can be able to become more effective in the classroom, as well as they can either follow their studies and then go to teachers college. The choice is theirs to make.
Okay. How long have you taught here?
6 years.
6 years.
To date.
Almost 10. 6 going on to 10. Life's way, God's way. Yes. What's one thing you can say more that you enjoy about teaching hair?
Teaching hair. The students never done with that thing where they can.
They keep you on your feet.
Yes, they keep you thinking and smiling.
That's good. Smiling is good. Good medicine. All right, so thank you so much for talking to us. I totally enjoyed your class and I enjoy the rapport that you have with students. I also enjoy being here on compound, seeing the compound for the very first time. I've never been on this compound before, just drove past, what have you. So thank you for having us and we wish you all the very best and we hope that more and more students will shift their mindset from maths, from animosity to friendship and that we can go places. Alright, so thank you.
You're welcome. And you're welcome anytime to sing Radio Canto.
We'll come back.
Looking forward to it.
All right. Finally, on Iron Government, the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines has taken a major step towards strengthening its tourism and investment landscape with the signing of a landmark agreement with Palm Island Resort. The partnership marks a significant milestone in the country's ongoing push to enhance luxury tourism, create new economic opportunities, and drive sustainable development across the Grenadines. Tonight, we take a closer look at the signing ceremony, the vision behind the agreement, and what this multi-million-dollar investment means for the future of the nation's tourism sector. More in this report.
Monday, November 17th, marks a defining moment in our nation's history, a moment where vision meets opportunity and partnership shares possibility. Here, in the heart of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the government and Palm Island Resort steps forward together, signing a landmark redevelopment agreement that will transform Palm Island and Anchorage Resort into world-class destinations. An investment valued at over $100 million, an investment in people, in jobs, in innovation, in our future. This is more than a contract, it's a commitment to sustainable development, to elevating our tourism product, and to unlocking the full potential of our islands. With every signature penned, we chart a new course, one defined by bold ambition and shared prosperity. From upgraded facilities and luxurious amenities to renewed infrastructure and expanded opportunities, this transformative project signals a new era in hospitality for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So, November 17th, as hands shaked and documents were sealed, we stand to witness a progress in motion. Palm Island Resort and the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, two partners, one vision. A future built on excellence, innovation, and the promise of a stronger, more vibrant tourism landscape. This is the beginning of something extraordinary, and the world is watching.
Developing the Anchorage Resort into a high-standard 4-star bohemian luxury property with 30 to 40 rooms, a pool, a beach club, a restaurant, and the reintroduction of the world-renowned kite surfing school. The Palm Island and Anchorage Resorts redevelopment is projected to create over 200 full-time jobs and will contribute significantly to the development of the economy of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The number of personnel during the construction phases is estimated to be between 100 to 150 during phase 1 and 150 to 200 during phase 2 and phase 3 of the works. The idea is to build out phase 1, have it operationalized while you build out the other phases. Once the resort is operationalized, it is required to procure locally produced agricultural foods and seafood from Vincentian farmers, fisherfolk, and businesses, subject to the availability and quality required for a 5-star luxury hotel resort. These linkages to the agriculture and fishery sectors increased employment, incomes, and enhanced livelihoods of the farmers and fishers of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Also, the resort is required to give preference to the purchasing of all other inputs to the resort where available locally or through local businesses in adequate quantities and quality, subject to competitive prices, delivery timelines, and other such criteria relevant to the feasibility of best construction practices. They required also to give preference to the engagement of suitably qualified and experienced local contractors and suppliers of goods and services subject to competitive prices, availability, mobilization timelines, and other criteria relevant to the feasibility of best construction practices. I think that the demolition and the rebuilding of the wharf that I think Kelly Glass, local company, Kelly Glass Construction, won the contract. And they've been doing work there. In order to ensure that Vincentians are afforded employment opportunities at the resort during operations, the resort is required to provide to the government within 6 months after the execution of this agreement a list of required skills for the construction of the resorts and villas, and within 12 months after the execution of this agreement, a list of required skills for the operations of the hotel, and to update that list from time to time, as well as provide training programs at the resort for nationals of St. Vincent and the Grenadines to advance their careers, including internships and advanced training with professional development paths to management roles. The investment also increases the country's room stock and leads to an increase in demand for airlift and traffic through the Argyle International Airport. This increased revenue strengthens the financial performance of this critical transformative infrastructure, the AIA. Additionally, taxes collected during operation, including VAT on accommodation and food and beverage, and the climate resilience levy, and PAYE taxes paid by the 200 or more full-time employees who would be working at both facilities. The development of the Palm Island Resort and Spa, the Anchorage Resort, will contribute to the revitalization of the economy in the Southern Grenadines, and by extension, the entire domestic economy. Local business owners will also benefit from the increased spending power of the workers who will be employed at the resort. The positive ripple effects will be held throughout the Southern Grenadines and beyond. Of course, the government is doing its part to facilitate the realization of the redevelopment of the Palm Island Resort and Anchorage. We have provided fiscal incentives. Under the Hotels Aids Act, we are providing 100% duty-free concessions on construction material and equipment during the construction phase. That's normal. 100% duty-free concession during the operating phase on all items required for the running of a 5-star resort, including a 15-year, under the Hotel Aids Act, 15-year tax holiday, after which 50% of the going rate will be paid for 5 years. Thereafter, full rate of income tax will be applicable. So we are facilitating with concessions to get this investment of $100 million. Now, if we don't facilitate with concessions, we wouldn't have the investment. We wouldn't have the workers being employed during the construction phase, and we wouldn't have the 200 full-time employees, and we wouldn't have all the requisite spin-offs with farmers and fisherfolk and local businesses. That's why the incentive regime is put in this way. There are some people who think that you could attract significant capital without giving concessions. They're living in dreamland. They're not realistic people. They're and these concessions are really par for the course all throughout the Caribbean. In fact, in some Caribbean countries, the investment is, the concessions are far more significant than these. I just want to tell you something which is important, apart from the question of the VAT. In fact, the agreement says, for the avoidance of doubt, VAT on accommodation and food and beverage and the climate resiliency levy payable by each guest shall be collected by the company and remitted to the government. And it addressed also the employment of our people, Vincentians. Once our people apply for the jobs, and naturally, the way we do it, and Zachary knows it, all this has been explained. If you're hiring somebody, you do an advertisement to see if you can get somebody from St. Vincent and Grenadines. It suits them to employ people from St. Vincent and Grenadines. It will be cheaper for them. Or you advertise it. You show the advertisement and you say, hey, these are the people who employed, who applied, and none is suitable which we consider for this particular job. And we have to give preference to this person. That is the only way that consideration will then be given for a work permit, because they have to apply for work permit. We tend to do these things quite reasonably between one another, because we are all very practical on it and not applying any sense of dogmatism. And we haven't had difficulties with these things. If we say, come on, John Brown and St. Vincent can surely do this job. This is not advanced nuclear physics, and the person has the training and so on and so forth. And invariably, people say, okay, the employers say, okay, fine, we'll try John Brown. And there are occasions in which you don't have anybody who has applied. Doesn't mean that there are not persons available, but you have to apply. Because a person who is good may be working elsewhere, and he or she doesn't want to change his or her job. These are just simple, practical ways in which we proceed, and I think I would explain that, because we are in a season when a lot of silly things are said. But we have to get Anchorage back up and running. We have to get Palm Island back up and running. The government owns 12% of Palm Island, Edmund, from way back when, even during the time of Mr. Lane. And the matter of the lease of Palm Island will come up for further renewal in the normal course of business. Because an investment of $100 million US is a significant investment in two relatively small properties. Sandals built Sandals Resort with 302 keys for $300 million US. This is 54 one way and 93 another way. So it's a significant investment. And we are happy that they've chosen to come to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And I'm happy that Mr. Lane, who has been a good investor, but sometimes when you're investing and your properties get blown down, you say to yourself, I really don't want to go over rebuilding this. I'd like to stay in it, but I'd like to get new partners. And this is where we are.
That's all we have for this evening's edition of Iron Government. Thank you for viewing till the end. Do join us again on Thursday for another presentation. Remember, the API is your official source for the latest on government information. Follow our Facebook page where we bring to you daily news, updates, exclusive features, and much more. Do take care. Good evening. I am Keisha Woodley.